This is Harry Paden. I am the host of The Parent Perspective. This is Season 2, Episode 20. Today, I'm going to be speaking on a subject that many don't realize. And kind of why I do the podcast, I've been blessed to have a lot of knowledge, and sometimes people get offended because they think you're smart. I am smart, I'm intelligent, I know things, I research things, so I share it with those who desire. Those who don't, those who haters, and hey, sorry, I love me, so my family loves me. my ex go on. I don't care if people like me. I'm not in the liking business, but sometimes I digress, and I think it's necessary to do that because in this life, there's givers and there's takers. I consider myself a giver. I give of myself and my knowledge. People call me sometimes for information, and I give it. Now, I could charge a fee. Sometimes I do. But I give it because if it helps another fellow human, I haven't lost anything. But the thing that annoys me, and this is biblical, is that people rarely come back and say, thank you. Thank you for helping me because, I was in a dire situation and the agency you helped me, you turned me on to, helped me out. Thank you for that voter registration information. People rarely come back and say thank you, but I can't let that cloud me because they're the ones that have to answer to that. Jesus said, I healed 10. Where are the other 9? But getting on to today's subject, October's a funny month. October has a ton. When I say a ton, there is a day for every, there's 31 days in October. There is a day almost for all 31. October 1st was International Coffee Day. The 2nd was International Fun Day. The 3rd, National Boyfriend's Day. Then, a great one, the 5th, National Teachers Day. Yesterday, I know we celebrated it at my church because we have a fantastic pastor, and also biblically, you have to celebrate the man of God, the man, woman of God. Women are included in my world and in my pastor's world and in Unity Freedom Baptist Church's world. Yesterday was Pastor's Appreciation Day, and the month is Pastor Appreciation Month. Upcoming, some of y'all need to get this date. The 15th is Boss Day. Better take care of that, boss. The 24th, very special day in my mind because internationally, if you know the founding of the United Nations and why it's a vital organization, collective group of nations get together so that one rogue nation can't get out there the way it was back in World War I, World War II. There were nations trying to take over the whole world, almost like that January 6th orange person, And those clowns always get defeated because together we're strong. But the 24th is United Nations Day. This is also Domestic Awareness Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there are quite a few days. There is also a day, again, people always going off on rants about it. I think it's All Saints Day or, something like that. But Halloween, look, all my kids, some of them in their 50s, celebrated the pagan celebration Halloween. Just a celebration. You know, it's just like National Coffee Day. It don't mean a thing. It don't mean that we're sacrilegious or any of that good old stuff. But again, I'm on the preacher's chair. October 16th, I'm going to do another podcast for this, is the anniversary of a day that you should know. I'm not going to even give it away yet. But October 16th, if you're black, particularly if you are a male black, you should know October 16th. Again, a podcast will be done on that day. But with all those days, there's still another one that I left out. And today is Columbus Day. We've celebrated Columbus Day for as long as I've been alive. And it's a day that should be celebrated because though Christopher Columbus kind of navigationally got lost, he discovered America. So I have no hatred for that. It's okay. We make a mistake, and God turned that mistake into the blessed United States of America. Forget all her faults. I wouldn't be here in this form, in this shape, in this mind without Christopher Columbus. So God bless Christopher Columbus and his, I won't say discovery, but his stumbling, because I want to be historically correct, his stumbling upon this continent, this country, Africa's a continent, the United States is part of the continent, the United States is not a continent, stumbling upon this country, the United States of America. So we celebrate him. But then, because of I almost said discovery, because of what took place after Christopher Columbus came here for his native country, Spain, and found that there was a wealth of good things here. A lot of places know there's a wealth of good things. Well, our borders are every day ringing. Right as I speak, there's people trying to get into this country. People try to get in this country way back, and people try to make it seem like as if the immigrants coming in are some kind of way going to weaken our country. But there is no one, with the exception of Native Americans, who can say that they are not benefiting by immigration. I don't care who your family is. I don't care who your family is. Immigrants were part of their history unless you are a blood Native American. And that's the holiday that I'm speaking about. Indigenous Peoples Day. And that is celebrated by our Native American brothers and sisters in lieu of celebrating Columbus Day. Because history is determined by the person with the power and the pen. So American history is not Native American history. Their history books, and I've read some of them, talk about the terrorists, the killers, the murderers, the rapists that came and systematically took their land, systematically brought over diseases, and systematically decimated a great country. When Christopher Columbus and the other persons like him came over, there were so many fish in the sea, the boats couldn't get through the water because the fish were so many. It kind of impeded the boats from going here. So today, Native Americans on Christopher Columbus Day purposely celebrate Indigenous People Day. Indigenous means we're here first. Like Ray J said, some of y'all know what he said. First. Something to do with first. I see I'm a little insane, but I'm smart as hell. So. Sorry, I cracked myself up. But it just becomes a challenge for me because I do have this knowledge and I choose to share it. I could be selfish. I could just share it with my family. But if there's one person out there that can use this knowledge, I try to share it with them. So we were taught about Christopher Columbus Day in school, and some of the things that I know now, man, I'd have so much trouble if I was in school because they would kick me out. But indigenous people, they were natives. They were savages. That's what they mistakenly, I'm sure they didn't know themselves, taught us. They were savages, cutting off your scalp, killing randomly, raping our women. Wait a minute. It was the white men that did that, not the Native Americans. Whew, but we were taught that there were only a few tribes of Indians. Let me give you some facts. In 1492, 10 million people were already inhabitants of this land. So don't ever use the word discover and Christopher Columbus together. You will be erroneous, and it'll make you look bad. These inhabitants, prior to the, contrary to the history you were taught, had already established societies which were rich, diverse, and sophisticated. These were not wild people walking around in loincloths. That's how they dress. Did you see how the Europe? Before Columbus arrived, Native Americans had already cultivated plants for food, dyes, medicines, and textiles. These inhabitants had already adapted and reshaped the Earth's natural environment to meet their needs. They were very Earth conscious. Very. Now, aren't we trying to do that now? Some hundreds of years later? There were already 2,000 distinct languages spoken among the inhabitants. These inhabitants were not primitives as we were taught. They lived in organized society and political structures, moral codes, and religious beliefs. They lived in communal, which means community, societies, and worked collectively. When Columbus arrived, in spite of the facts I've just given you, he very pretentiously claimed, "This is my country and the Queen of Spain owns it now." These indigenous people, who we with knowledge now call Native Americans, the history of that, Christopher Columbus, because he was turned around, he didn't have GPS, he thought he was in India. So he called the people Indians. Now, if you get out a map, that boy was lost. I'm sorry, but he was lost. We are nowhere close to India, and if you get on a flight, you'll know how far India is. But he called them Indians. Many years, we called them Indians. In school, we were taught they were Indians. But if you want to be historically correct, they are native, and they use the word Americans because they named it, but America, the name America came after. They were native people, though we call them Native Americans. But more correctly, native people to this land, because America came after, and we named it America. They didn't name it America, so I'm sure that's quite an issue, Native Americans, but we'll leave that alone. And the Indians found the visitors, which they thought were visitors, very interesting with their pale skin. Little did they know at the time that these people were greedy, cruel, and very materialistic. Not only that, not only that, Europeans brought with them diseases that Native Americans had never experienced in their pristine, environmentally friendly land. Europeans used the foods they discovered to transform the diet back in Europe and Asia. They went back, took many of the things that were native to this country and brought it back. Native American gold and other precious metals, medicine, art, architecture, and ecology were also taken back and utilized. Now, what did the Native Americans get for these contributions to Europe and the other countries? They got smallpox, they got typhus, they got cholera, these diseases, I don't know how to pronounce them. They got measles, mumps, diphtheria, whooping cough, etc. Those are the diseases that the Europeans brought over. Fact, I'm not playing, it's just disgusting. Come in my house like right now we're doing with COVID. We trying to keep people, go get back, sir, 6 feet. You imagine if the Native Americans truly knew those diseases. These diseases and the avaricious nature, greedy nature of these conquering visitors systematically decimated its once rich, environmentally friendly land. Prior to their arrival, as I said, the waters were so full of fish, the Europeans had trouble sailing their boats through the water. Let me say it again. The waters were so full of fish, the Europeans had trouble. Oh, can't get back. Whoa, whoa. It's no wonder we were not taught the true story in history class. But wait, late night, there's more. We were also taught about Thanksgiving and how the Europeans and Native Americans sat around and had a good time and thanked everybody. Well, wait a minute. Newsflash. My Native American friends, of which I have many, informed me that today's Native Americans do not celebrate Thanksgiving. Why? Because the Europeans and others stole their land through meaningless treaties and promises. They instead celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous Peoples Day is a holiday that celebrates and honors Native American people, and it commemorates their histories and cultures. It is celebrated across the United States on the second Monday, which today is, in October, and is an official city and state holiday in various locations. Our president, the good Joe Biden, has also made it known about Indigenous people. He's a good man. All his faults, he has enough sense, and he happens to be a man of the conquering race, white people. But he has enough sense to know history and to say, look, that was then, this is now. We acknowledge you, we celebrate you, and the things the people back then did to you were terrible things. That's a great acknowledgement. Thank you, President Biden. The Native American population was systematic. That means with a system. There was a system. Just like there's a system now in my communities. Oh, if Johnny's in the 4th grade, okay, let's build a prison, because by the time Johnny gets to be grown, we're going to systematically make life so difficult that Johnny's going to become a prisoner. You don't think that's... Well, Harry Paden knows what he's talking about. That's what they sit around and talk about. When we sit around and talk about, no, all due respect to all these people, and nothing against them, Jay-Z and Cardi B and, Meg Thee Stallion. Now, A stallion is a male horse that has been neutered, but who am I? She's famous, she's rich. Meg's a stallion. But when we sit around and talk about all those people and spend all our time, having fun and lollygagging, some people are systematically plotting to take away your voting rights, to take away your benefits that they call entitlements. Did you know there are more non-people of color on welfare than there are people of color? You didn't know that. The Appalachians and, back, this is an offensive term to them, so I'm only saying it because they use it. Hillbillies and, the names that they gave to, people who live such life. Many of them on welfare. Unfortunately, many Native Americans, because again, they took away their land. They lived off the land. They didn't go out to factories and things like that. The Native Americans were self-sufficient people living off this beautiful land that some named America. So they want to tell you, you don't do nothing. You're getting work. You need to look at what your congressmen and senators get for their nonsense, their non-thinking selves, for their acting like babies and arguing, well, I'm not going to vote for it because it's a Democrat, not a Republican. Y'all should be up in arms. Y'all should be up in arms. The debt ceiling. That means we, the United States of America, can't pay our debts. I don't know about you, but if you don't pay your debts, you're in trouble. And we sit around and let these high-paid people, do you know that if a person becomes a congressman or a senator, and they serve just one term, if they serve just one day, if they serve any period of time, they get a pension for life. I've had a lot of jobs I worked one day because I used to quit jobs in a minute. I don't get no money from them jobs. Those are some dubiously crooked people, and I say it. I know a few that are good in a way, but they benefit. So systematically, they will push further and further west. Now, if you look at the names, again, many people don't think of this and know it, but California, Ronkonkoma, I can't think of some of the names, but the names are Indian names. Many of the cities, many of the locations, they're Indians. Got me saying Indian. Lord have mercy. But you understand what I mean. They're Native American names. Because they stole the land from them. They started with Christopher entered the country and said, oh, this is good. Let's travel more. Travel west. And they found gold. There's gold in them there hills. Indians, get out of here. Get out of here. Gold. We rich. The history of this country. The history of this country. If only you knew. But they pushed them further and further west, gave them meaningless treaties. If you allow us to build on this land, we will give you people land. And then they pushed them back some more, and they pushed them back some more. Now most of the Indians are living on what are called reservations and little plots of land, and they still live, the majority of them, in communal societies. You look, they have communal societies. Many of them do not follow the ways and mores of the United States of America. And guess what? The United States of America does not make them, because they know that you decimated this population of people. You did. Many Indians suffer from alcoholism. It's very, very prevalent in that culture. So know your history. Today is Indigenous People Day. Taking nothing away from Columbus Day, that man should be celebrated for stumbling upon this great country. It was one of the best eras ever, and I take nothing away from him. But what they did after they stumbled on America, oh, I have great problems with that. So my Italian friends, understand you can celebrate Christopher Columbus because I celebrate him. God bless the man. But what the Europeans did to the Native Americans, God will one day make them pay for that. But, again, don't get me wrong, we Americans, we owe our, not the Native Americans because they were already here, our very existence to Christopher Columbus and people like him. But let's stop incorrectly stating what is not fact. They did not stumble upon a bunch of savages and help them become civilized. You did not. And if you're saying that you're a liar, I challenge you to sit down with me one-on-one with your facts based on my facts. Now, facts are only facts if you can back them up. So I don't want some book written by some historian that's pinkish in color and is going to tell a mistruth. I got this information from Native American books. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, Native Americans, right? Read and write. They have books. They have historians. So if you want to know the true history, learn it from people who know the true history. What we did to the Native American was wrong back then. It is still wrong today. I have a fascinating thought. Maybe the Native Americans should have built a wall that could have kept Columbus and his people out. Maybe they should have invested in a wall. Sorry. But that's today's podcast. To those that stayed around to the end, I hope I gave you some information. If no one stayed to the end, that's all right. I'm still proud of me because I know this stuff. I put it in a book. The truth. The truth. The book is called Now You Tell Me, History / Facts Not Taught in Most American School, available on Amazon, written by that great, handsome Richie Rich Paden. Thank you for taking time. Please tell someone about today being Indigenous Peoples Day. To God be the glory.